shortly. We're just having some more people join us, so we're just giving them some time. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and get started as some people start trickling in. So thank you all for joining our webinar today. This is the FAFSA Best Practices webinar, and we're featuring our December 2020 Most Innovative Player School, Maricopa High School. So Maricopa High School has done an outstanding job in FAFSA completion this year, despite all the challenges that everyone is facing. They're actually up pretty much 17% year to date. So they're doing some great innovative workings, and they're working as a team to do these awesome innovative practices to encourage their students and their families to complete the FAFSA. So today we're going to feature the amazing counseling team. So we have Anna Luna, we have Larry Veltri, Vanessa Stone, Deanna Payne, Charity Madison, and then Bernadette Russinello. So we are very excited, and we're going to go ahead and hand it off to them so they can go ahead and tell us all about their best practices that they're doing, and we can take notes and hopefully adapt it at some of your high schools to encourage FAFSA completion as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to the Maricopa High School counseling team.
All right, thank you guys so much for having us here today. We have this presentation for you, and let me tell you, it was a little daunting to receive the call and then to be told, hey, we want to recognize you for all the outstanding work you're doing, and can you please, present a webinar to counselors across the state. My first thought was like, oh my gosh, like, what are we even going to do? Like, what are we going to say? What are we going to do? Are we doing anything that special? And it was a freak out moment. But then as we started building this presentation, realizing, holy cow, yeah, we're doing things, and I think the best part is what we're doing, I think can work in any school, and it's not really just somehow just special or unique to us here at MHS. So thank you for joining us today. I think probably one of the biggest strengths for us this year, as opposed to any time previously at MHS, is that we really have a comprehensive counseling team. If we're going to share a little bit about our background, but once upon a time, we had one school counselor, and we were a tiny 2A high school with 300 students, right? And now we are definitely more than that. And our philosophy is that if everyone's moving forward together, then success will take care of itself. And our job is to help every student, not just a particular group of students, to reach success and to help figure out what they want to do beyond high school. We are going to do 3 things today with you guys. We're going to share at first a little bit about who we are, just so you can understand the context of our high school and some of that school profile information. We're going to share specifically about our counseling department, and you guys will see some of the challenges that we face that you hopefully will be able to relate to. And then very specifically, we're going to share how we do it. We're going to give you the deets on what we've done this year to experience success with our seniors and with our students.
So hello everyone, thanks for joining us. So a little bit about who we are. So together, our school, Maricopa High School, we have about 2,600 students. So we have 5 academic counselors, 2 licensed counselors, a prevention counselor, and specifically a college and career coordinator. So we are a big school with a big town heart. We kind of fall under all these different areas. So rural, we're 20 minutes southwest of Phoenix. Suburban, because we've got about 50,000 residents and our population is still growing incredibly fast. And urban, because we have so many diverse students from all over the world. They come in, they relocate here. So we have a vast majority of all types of people. Our demographics is we consist about 40% Hispanic, 36% white, 14% Black African American, 4% Native American, 3% Asian. And we do try to emphasize and try to promote 50% of our students qualify for the National School Lunch Program and Title I school. So we do use these resources. And here's a little photo of MHS graduating. Okay, so overall, our school is rated as a C grade level school. Fun fact is we continue to grow in 2010, basically we have 4,700% growth rate. So we are seeing that impact. We feel it as counselors, we see it in the school, and constantly moving and updating our plans. Statistically, we've got 7% of our students going into military, 12% university, 38% community college, which is nice because we have a bunch of community colleges nearby, so our students take advantage of that. We have several achievements, 5 military, the Academy Achievement, 5 National Merit, 3 Hispanic scholarships, 1 Flynn Scholar, and we have 1 in the semi-qualifying round currently. And then a big part of our job this year, as you know, is we've been in person and online. So starting July 30th, we are online, and in person September 21st. So we really have been juggling that back and forth with our students.
Okay, what we do. Here's just a quick video that we made earlier in the semester, just introducing our counseling team. All right, there's a really fun song there too that apparently didn't come through with the presentation. Basically, we work really hard. Here's how we spend our day. The majority of our day right now is spent really on student support, working on new enrollments, checking records, doing credit checks, parent communication, the constant barrage of emails that are coming in as we've been on the online format, and doing special event planning. We also work with several different groups. We host the morning announcements. We do lunch bunch where we have a counselor. Where we have
She's almost done.
We have a counselor online to meet with kids during lunch.
Thank you.
Who might not have anyone else to meet with or talk to over lunch. We have our Achieve or advisory periods that we're going in and doing special presentations and other different support groups. And then, of course, we're still spending time doing one-on-one meetings with parents and students through Google Meets. Like Vanessa already said, we do have 5 academic counselors. Our average caseload is about 550 for every counselor. And then we also are lucky enough to have Bernadette as our college and career coordinator. And then we have mental health counselor, prevention counselor, and a special populations ESS behavior counselor, and an OCCHN liaison as well.
All right, so we're going to share now with you some of the steps of what we specifically did this year to experience FAFSA success.
Okay, just a minute.
Hey, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. I'm Larry Beltry, and I'm glad to talk about the Google Classrooms. We have a Google Classroom for each individual grade and its cohort. It works out extremely well. We have the kids doing some exciting activities. Each class, the classes of 21, 22, 23, 24, the 21s have already been doing FAFSA, as you all know, and it's been so effective that they can talk to us. We have opened up office hours each and every Friday for them to visit with us about what's going on and how we can help them, how we can move them forward. And certainly what's going to come up here pretty soon is we're going to open office hours for each grade level on a specific day of the week. And we are going to work with our particular cohort and answer any questions. So we'll have open office hours for them to be able to reach us. And we've also used virtual course selection through Google Classroom, which has allowed us to register all the students. So it's been very, very effective. And we really enjoy the Google Blast. We get to share some interesting activities with the kids, what's going on. It's a very valuable tool. We indicate all kinds of exciting things coming up, CTE scholarships to virtual visits from the colleges, to exploring careers and construction trades. All these things are available. We give the email blast to the students, and they are able to join us right away. The response has been excellent. So certainly some great activities that we can keep the kids all informed of.
So we make it a priority to be as accessible as possible to our students, and traditionally we like to visit the classrooms on a regular basis. And we've obviously this year has looked a little bit differently. We haven't been going in person. Everything has been virtual, where we go into the classrooms and provide information about options after high school, open up dialogue, collaboration, how to afford these options after high school. We offer a scholarship boot camp, and then we also have ongoing conversations about their ECAP, making sure that it's updated, and etc. And the next slide is a picture of essentially what our world has looked like right now virtually. And so this is how we've been meeting with our students to make sure their needs are met. We also every Tuesday, immediately after school, open up that time for different schools to schedule time to meet with our students to go over specific scholarships or opportunities that they provide to our students.
So he was the winner of an MHS water bottle.
All right, our latest news and updates. All right, Build Your Future AZ is going to attempt to have this virtual career fair again. We had advertised this early. All right, so that just shows you our daily announcements. We didn't want to actually bore you with the entire show, but every day we get to control the narrative. We don't have a like film, TV broadcast program here at the high school any longer. And so when we started distance learning in July, it's like, how are kids going to know anything at all? And so just kind of over the weekend, after those first 2 days of school, we bounced the idea off administration about, hey, can we just have a live stream that plays every morning? We just ask all the teachers to show, so that way we can make sure we have consistency in what students know. Before this, typically what happens is that the announcements were put into the hands of the teachers to give to students. And if you guys have had that experience at your school, you probably know that you get a very varied result in trusting that to 100 people to carry out, as opposed to concentrating it in the hands of just a few. And so it's been really awesome being able to shape that narrative and being able to really highlight not just upcoming events and programs and information that is important for us as counselors to share with students, but being able to recognize students, celebrate their accomplishments, give them opportunities to give shout outs to peers and teachers, as well as every Thursday we host a mental health minute in which our mental health counselors share tips and tricks on how to stay happy and healthy. And then specifically now for FAFSA, because this is just activities that we have been doing all year and we're committed to continuing to do to support our students. Specifically for FAFSA, we had the FAFSA kickoff that week of September 28th through October 2nd. Now, typically, you guys, we're on break every time FAFSA opens, right? So we try to do everything for our students in mid-September to try to get them as much information as possible. So that way, when the form opens, they can get in and complete it. But this was the first time we actually had students on campus during, on the day that FAFSA opened. So that Monday, September 28th, with the help of the Heifer group, we hosted a Zoom webinar, which was awesome because they did all the promotion and the reminders and all that kind of great stuff. We had a fantastic turnout, nowhere near 100%, but we had 99 families participating, which typically when we would host an in-person FAFSA event, we'd maybe get 8. So that was amazing to have that level of support, nearly 20% of our seniors' families participating. Then on October 1st, we actually held a FAFSA kickoff. And so we themed it with football and game day jerseys. So we made it a school spirit day and asked students to wear and represent their favorite sports team, wear their favorite jersey or their favorite college t-shirt. We worked with our government and econ teachers, and shout out here, by the way, Charity Madison, who came to us from Vista Grande High School in Casa Grande, she brought this idea with her and said, this is what we do. We make it an assignment. We make it a requirement. And so we approached our teachers with that idea. But then also in September, thank you, San Luis High School, because they said the same thing with their 70% completion. So it was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to make this an opportunity. We worked with the government econ teachers. They, did a live stream in that class that day. They posted the videos, they posted all of the support information, and then assigned it as a grade. Side note, most of them only made it a homework assignment or extra credit. So it didn't quite have the impact we were hoping for. We wanted it to actually be an assessment grade, like the equivalent of a test grade. But it's a thing we're still working out the details on. And then that day as well, we hosted a Super Bowl party up here in the front office. And so we just brought in chips and snacks and drinks and just invited all of our teachers to stop by, grab a snack, and talk about their own college experiences with their students. And then starting that Friday, we kicked off what we call FAFSA Fridays, and that's now been ongoing since October 2nd. So using that senior Google Classroom, we opened live links. I'm in there all day on Fridays. And so students can just pop in. They don't have to make an appointment. They don't have to schedule anything. They don't even have to leave class because they can just do it virtually. And they can come in and they can meet about any questions they have about their next steps, or if they need help with actually completing the form, or they're stuck on some element of it. We are available every Friday for our seniors to do that. And just ongoing since then, obviously we've kept the FAFSA Fridays going, as well as just using our dashboard data to follow up with students. And I should also say that on the announcements on Fridays, we feature the update of who's applied, so we celebrate the students and recognize them for applying for FAFSA. We share the app admit reports. So we basically share a list of names of students who have been admitted to our state universities, and we celebrate them. We recognize students who are applying, who are doing MEPS and who are enrolling in the military. We feature them. We feature students who've been awarded scholarships. We feature students who have been accepted into apprenticeships and trades programs, and anything we can celebrate about our students for what they're doing, for what's next, we cover in that morning announcement space. And this is an example of that. We have a scoreboard going on Fridays where we show where the class of 2021 stacks up against last year's graduating class. So right now, class of 2021 is dominating. I mean, our applications to ASU are up by, what is that, 33%. Last year, we only, even though we have many students who qualify, we only had 3 kids actually be eligible for the Obama Scholarship. This year, I'm anticipating at least 10. Our NAU apps are way up. The number of Lumberjack scholars have increased. The number of apps to U of A, the number of students using the Common App to apply because they're applying more widely, because like they're learning that they actually have opportunities out of state and sometimes can get even more competitive scholarships and financial aid offers for out of state schools. You can see our FAFSA completion halfway through the school year. And let me tell you, our students are, like most students, are the biggest procrastinators on the planet. You know, we finished at 38%, I think, as of September for our class of 2020. And we're already at 36% completion, and it's just January. And we anticipate, I don't want to say doubling, but we anticipate that number increasing substantially in the next few months. And then, you know, the thing still to be determined is how many AP scholars we're going to wind up with, and the number of students that will be enlisting. Although we do have 2 students who are currently in that candidacy phase for West Point. So that's exciting. And then in the announcements on FAFSA Fridays, we also share the pig. The pig's right up here in my office. And so we were filling up that piggy, right? And we just surpassed, you know, like what I said, where we were basically last year. This was our FAFSA completion rate 2 years ago. Our goal, of course, is 100% because we want 100% of our students knowing what their options are for after high school and knowing that they have options to pursue, whether it's trade school or community college or university or anything for post-secondary education past high school. And then, of course, like I said, we celebrate the students who have completed their FAFSA. We list their names, we name them, we congratulate them. And then one other component we typically do this year with COVID, it was very different, is we normally host a senior conference, a senior college and career expo. Our administration gives us an entire day to work with our seniors in the early fall. We usually host the ACC Fall Tour College Fair, so we have that table browse for 90 minutes. Last year, when we did it in 2019, so it would have been fall 2019, we had over 45 representatives at our fair. We do an FAFSA and FSAD workshop where all the students participate in a FAFSA workshop hosted by ASU, and then we have all the students go into a computer lab and actually set up their FSA ID. We give them a nice little sheet for them to write it down on and their passwords and all that good stuff. And then the rest of the day is dedicated to, just like a conference, workshops, all focused on career prep. So we do 20-minute TED-style talks from guest speakers from business and industry across not just our community, but then across the state. Interview tips, they get to do a fishbowl workshop. We have our alumni come back, graduates who graduated within the last 10 years, and they share about what they've learned and their tips and their advice of what to do. And typically, this event really obviously does a lot to help launch our students into a successful year. This year we had to do it virtual, and it was nowhere near as cool at all. And we had 50 students participate, whereas typically we have 500. But still, if you want ideas on how to do it, I'm more than happy to share the plan.
Just looking at how we're so responsive in what we do, you know, we have the Calendly system. So at that link, bottom of our emails, we also have these giant posters all over campus. Students can access us through that means. And we have a 24-hour response time on emails. We want to make sure our families felt heard and that our students felt supported and that we have that communication for them. So we really work very hard on what we do. And so you can imagine what it looks like for 500 plus students and families and all the changes that have been brought on by COVID. just trying to maintain and balance all of that. So our team is extremely strong and dedicated, and it's just amazing to see how we've had so many barriers put up in front of us this year, and just being able to tackle those, not just individually, but as a team, and bounce those ideas off each other. So it's, you know, we really want to make sure that our students know that and how hard we're working and what we're doing. And one of the biggest reasons why all of this is possible and how we're all communicated in together is because of this woman right here. And this is Miss Bernadette. She's been here for 20 years at MHS in our district. You know, she has, what is the HQ?
Highly qualified.
Oh, I like it. So I was like, oh, that's fun. So highly qualified English government marketing teacher. She's a certified principal. We have a Bernadette, we have a college and career coordinator. So we have somebody who is our person, our ins and our outs. And whenever we have students who are asking questions or needing that extra assistance, she is our go-to person. I always say, well, let's talk to the experts whenever I have someone asking a question. Like, I'm interested in the CAVET program. I'm interested in the dual enrollment program. I'm interested in our, you know, diversified education studies program. And it's like, oh, let's talk to the expert. Let's get Ms. Russ in there. And it's amazing because she has such a bond with all the kids, and she has a personality that really makes you feel very comfortable and makes you feel very happy. She's such a friendly demeanor, and she has such a connection with the community as a whole because of all the years that she's been here and her dedication. So she knows all the right people to put us into contact with. She knows how to help bridge that gap. And especially being a new counselor this year, she's been so diligent about, you know, this is a great process to utilize, and how can I support, and doing those check-ins. And so we are very, very fortunate to have her in her role here, because I cannot imagine everything that we do on a daily basis, and then also having to do X, Y, and Z with our PSATs and everything like that, and the CAVET questions and all the college and career related things. So she's just an absolute rock star. So the reason why all these things have been coming together is taking all of our different strengths and bringing them all together, but really having her be this front runner for our college and career programming. And so we're just extremely blessed to have her here. So that is why that's our secret ingredient, if you guys really want to know, is having a Miss Russ on our team.
Thank you, Anna. Wow, that was completely like, I didn't even give her talking points or anything. Holy cow, thank you. So what we do have for you in the slides, which I'm sure that they will make available to you after the webinar, is just resources that we use. So this is just a quick, it's a Google Doc, FAFSA FAQs and resources, but it's kind of meant to be a complete one-page how-to, everything you need for finishing the FAFSA. We share that to our seniors and to their parents. Some terribly produced videos. We don't like, this is what we do. We have meets and then we record them. All right, so that's the span of our high-tech ability. But there's a video for filling out the FAFSA. It's a 14-minute video that walks the students actually through the FAFSA form. And then a video on affordable college options to give students ideas about how or where they can pursue you know, education beyond high school. And we really do, we are a career-informed school, all right, to the point where our teachers actually complain that, you know, we focus too much on career and not enough on just the esoteric love of learning. Okay, fair enough. We love to learn too, and we really want students to make the most out of their time. We do. But from the time they enter our high school all the way through, we definitely ask them those essential questions. Who am I? What do I want from my life and for my life? And how am I going to get there? And we just keep bringing it back to that for kids and trying to give them as many resources and options as possible. And then specifically with like those, we have an advisory. Oh, we didn't even talk about advisory, did we? I must have skipped that. We have like an advisory period now. It's called Achieve. So we're able to go into classrooms at the invitation of teachers to deliver these workshops. And so these are just sample workshops, probably our most requested ones. You know, the FAFSA kickoff, affording college, the college roadmap, scholarship boot camp, and options for what's next. So they're not perfect. They're always a work in progress. I'm constantly revamping them, but those are resources that we wanted to share with you. And we wanted to say thank you for giving us the time. If you guys have specific questions, that's my contact information. It's my email, my office number, our school, high school websites. And then I did not make this beautiful slideshow. It's actually our principal gave us this resource. It's called SlidesGo, and it's free. You can download PowerPoint and Google Slide templates. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, and they're gorgeous. So if you want to, step up and make your presentations look amazing, definitely check that out. And otherwise, I think we're ready to just answer questions that you guys might have as soon as I can figure out how to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you so much to the whole team. I mean, all of your guys' innovative efforts are amazing, and it seems like a team effort. So you guys are all working together, and Bernadette, it seems like you're the lead there with the experience, and I love the HQ. I feel like I have to use that sometime. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them into the Q&A section or type them into the chat. We had a couple that came through the presentation, one of which was in regards to, you had mentioned about the mental health minute. So they had asked, how do you get mental health counselors and how is it funded for your students?
I know it's from a grant. So we had one that we received on a grant before the school safety grant. And then we got the prevention counselor, I think specifically through the award through the school safety grant.
The grant, yeah.
Terrific. And then another question that came through is, how do you engage parents? So how do you overcome that challenge of engaging parents that the FAFSA is important and that their students should complete it?
Okay, so, all right. I don't know if we do the best job of engaging parents. We do, well, actually we do. It's more of an administrative effort. So our principal every Friday sends a campus update and newsletter out. And so we have an entire page of that goes out to parents. So they have access to that. So a lot of these resources that we're sharing with you, we link then into that newsletter. So that's one way. We host parent nights on a regular basis. We probably have at least one a month. So like we did the FAFSA one in September. We did a college options and college roadmap in November. We'll be following up in February with just what they need to know about dual enrollment opportunities, early college. But typically those types of events that we put on, whether they're in person or virtual, at most we usually get about 50 people engaging. We try to take the same approach with our parents that we take with our students, which is just trying to be as accessible and responsive as possible. I think Anna cut out a little when she was talking about that Calendly, that we use Calendly, which is an app that links our Google Calendar to just a really quick, cute little appointment slide where people can go in, they can book their appointment time, they can meet with us. And so that puts the power in their hands. We try to eliminate gatekeeping as much as possible, as far as just trying to make all information available to everybody. I was laughing because I think my biggest challenge is we're using so many channels. We use Facebook. We have a Parents of MHS Rams page with almost 1,000 followers. We have, the support because we are a city, like a small, large city. We have a local in Maricopa. I for 3 years wrote a column that, every month I was a featured columnist in a publication that goes to 24,000 homes, We're using all these channels, and yet our biggest challenge is we still hear, well, nobody told me. And we're not 100% sure how to get around that because we feel like we have, but it's like one of those things where you don't know what you don't know, and you're not ready to hear until you're ready to hear. So, so that's just what we keep doing. We keep trucking. And it sometimes feels like we get attacked more often than we get appreciated by what we're apparently not doing for our families or our community, but we try 100% to be, you know, available and responsive.
Awesome. Let's see, any other questions that are coming through? What is the biggest challenge that you have faced this year? I'm guessing going virtual is a common theme, but
I'm going to let my team members answer first.
I know one of our biggest challenges has just been constantly changing schedules as kids flip-flop back and forth between whether they want to come to school in person or if they want to be online, and it's just been constant. I don't know if anybody else wants to pipe in.
I think definitely that unknown, especially planning ahead.
Yeah.
Very hard. And kind of going with planning. Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead.
I think another challenge too is like, yeah, we're going back and forth with, we're walking this through.
I think the audio is cutting out a little bit there.
For sure. For me, I think the biggest challenge this year, I mean, what's fascinating is it really is like our workload, which was already substantial, like tripled. So I think the hardest thing this year is, I don't know, my stress levels are just constant, right? So there's just always so much to do. And when you're running a comprehensive program like what we shared, where we're trying to be in classrooms and we're trying to respond within 24 hours, and then we still have to actually do the work, you know, the credit checks and the recommendations and attend the IEP meetings and do all these different things, it feels overwhelming at times. And I think, unfortunately, I think we've all treated ourselves this year with a lot of comfort food and just a lot of time together as a team, laughing and kind of playing, taking a 40-minute lunch instead of a 30-minute lunch, and, you know, trying to make in those spaces to just be, because the demands are so much all the time.
Absolutely. Let's see. So we have another question that came in. It says, how do you see which students have completed the FAFSA? What
All
tools
right.
or resources?
Yeah, so with that is an agreement with, is it the Post-Secondary Commission on Education, that whole college application campaign, the FAFSA completion, and is it, I think it's called the dashboard. Like, so there's like 3 elements that you can sign up for. We signed up for all of them. We signed up for them for the last 4 years. I didn't actually, I'm going to be honest, the first year I didn't even know I could download the data. I never set up my account. And then each year, as if I have time, but each year we try to use it more and more. But what I'm able to do is I'm able to upload a list of my seniors. And then based on uploading that list, I'm able to download from that state database then the status of those students. So it'll show us if they've completed, that'll show us if it's partially like that they submitted it, but it somehow got kicked back. And it will also show, you know, that they started, but it's partially complete. It's not finished. So in an ideal world, I would then look at that, because here's the deal. My students apply and they never check their email. I mean, your students are probably the same way. They just don't read anything at all. Like nothing. And so they'll think they've applied, and then they're like, how come I haven't gotten like an award yet from ASU? And then we'll go into their FAFSA together and then be like, oh, well, it's because you didn't actually finish, or because you've been selected for verification, or, and these are all concepts that even for like, you know, experienced counselors, like not everyone necessarily knows how to walk kids through each of those steps. So it's being aware of that. So it's been a useful tool, although I don't use it as much as I need to.
Yes, and for anyone on the webinar that would like access to the FAFSA finish line data that Bernadette was mentioning, I'll include my email in the chat, and you can just email me and we can send you over the forms to get your school set up with it. Another question we have is, how does your team contact or call every senior that has not completed the FAFSA? Do you call, email? What type of outreach do you do?
Yeah, in an ideal world, that's exactly what we would do, and we could do potentially if we ever get to stop changing schedules. We've literally been changing schedules as practically our full-time job since July, because we at this high school we have a online option, right, full-time, and an in-person option full-time, and so like right now our school board, we've been closed because of the higher than 10% positivity rate in our city and the extreme number of cases that we had on our campus in November, being able to stay open with all that happening. So we've been closed since December and been online, but now we're opening February 1st. And of course, like the counselor can tell you, right now they're getting slammed with 200 families now asking, like, even though we said we want to be in person, we actually want to be online. You know what I mean? And that is what is taking most of their time. So in my world, what I'll do is I'll first prioritize the students who have it started but haven't finished, and then just check in with them. And literally that check-in is going to look like an email. We put a lot on the students here. I feel like we handhold them a lot because they need it. They need the support. But at a certain point, there's an accountability piece with being an adult and being a college student. That means like you do have to do something. And what we ask them to do, and we remind them to do every day, is to check their email, that is a professional workplace standard, right? To be aware, to skim, to use, we teach them how to use the search functions in their Gmail. So that way, hey, everything that's college or career related comes from Russinello. Let me teach you how to do a search so you can get everything. Let me teach you how to set up a filter so that way everything that comes in, you know, goes here. So that way they're seeing it. But otherwise, we don't have a highly effective system for meeting with 601 seniors.
Well, any other questions, feel free to go ahead and type them in, but you guys are getting a lot of love and praise. People are saying your team's amazing. They love the phrases that you guys are doing, explaining everything right. And you guys are doing just an amazing job. So obviously your data is showing it with FAFSA completion, and you guys had some great tips today that hopefully our attendees will be able to take some of them away and try them at their high schools. Yeah, and you guys are already surpassed your FAFSA completion rate that you had for last year. So we hope that, you know, this continued success will double it for this spring to get more students to complete the FAFSA. So we will stay online for a couple more minutes. We will email out the slideshow to all of the attendees, so that way in case you want to go ahead and go back through the slides. Again, I've included my email in the chat, so if you have any questions on the FAFSA finish line data that Bernadette was mentioning on how they keep track of students who have completed or haven't completed a FAFSA, feel free to email me and then we can get you set up with that. But other than that, I want to thank each of you, Anna, Larry, Vanessa, Deanna, Charity, Bernadette. Thank you all for joining us today. I think we learned a lot, and Maricopa is doing a lot, and you guys are definitely doing a lot with a lot on your plate right now. And hope everybody stays safe on February 1st, and you get your students confirmed if they're going to stay online or in person. But yeah, thank you guys so much. This has been a very informative webinar, and I hope that everybody enjoyed it.